Maybe we should have this intro thing. Anyways, welcome to the new Hangout. I have a few points on the slide, and I have a demo of, well, a couple of demos, I think, and we'll just see what happens. So let me just share my screen here. Cool. And there, and I suppose you can see my screen. Yes, so basically, I'm just going to mention some things that's happened since last Hangout. And especially, it's the debugger. It's now an Electron app. So it has distributions for Windows, Linux, and Mac. So there are some links now on the website to download these. The publishing, the way of, like now, these distributions are on Google Drive, which is kind of weird. But I think Alexei has some good ideas there, how to make that a better process. But anyways, it works, which is super awesome. So we can use now the Electron app debugger with any browser, and we can use it with React Native, and we can even use it with Node. So I was talking to, I think, yeah, Chris, his name is Chris, and Matthias, well, Fricke and Edgesoft yesterday about function tree, because it's super simple to actually just clone the Cerebral debugger, because Cerebral is now based on function tree. So we can actually make a standalone function tree debugger as well, which is useful for server side, because you usually use only function tree on server side. So it's kind of nice to have it in there. Maybe we even should put it inside the current debugger. So you have like the Cerebral tab, and then you have function tree purely on the server. Anyways, I'm going to make a proof of concept of it, and then we'll see where it goes. And yeah, you can do like remote debugging as well, because it uses WebSockets. So we could even like fire up a server and kind of like proxy messages and stuff. But yeah, at least now if you're on the same Wi-Fi, you can use connect phones to it, which is cool. And then people have been trying out the alpha, which is really cool. We refactor our whole project to Cerebral 2 now. It took us, well, it was spread over 2 days, but like 1 day, I think. And we also decided to do the refactoring of explicitly defining the signals in components, which you don't have to do. There's an option for bringing in the old signals prop, but we decided to do that. And that is what takes the most time to refactor. So I would say for a pretty large project, it takes half a day. But now I haven't even gone into the specifics, and also the code mods that our Australian friend is working on can also decrease that time. But it's definitely worth it, I think, moving to the new debugger and all this stuff. Cool. And then it's the website. There's some new styling there. Decrease the font size a little bit, inspired by the Vue.js site, which is just, it's so simple, but there's something really nice about it. So I tried to get some inspiration from that. And yeah, we'll also change so that you download a zip file for the tutorial instead of cloning the Cerebral repo. Because I really wanted to be a low threshold for getting started with Cerebral. Like we have these success stories like with Wayne, who didn't have much experience coding. but has actually become super productive in like he's been at our offices now. Actually, I forgot to tell that on the last hangout. Banner in the UK, Wayne, he has been at the Ducky offices for a month, helping us with our project, working on Cerebral. And since he has been using it on his own project, he was productive from day one, and yeah, gotten some experience on working on larger projects as well. Yes, so it's a zip file now. And then we have forms, which is getting a lot of attention now by Edgesoft and Henry. And I also look into it from time to time, fixing some bugs, and there will be a demo shortly. And then we have a Firebase demo. I'm not quite sure the state of it, but it's Gaspard and Julie. Oh, I forgot his. What is his name? Julio Saito. Yes, is working on that, which is very cool because it's like a real real application. So that's super awesome. And then I have signed a contract with there are some people called Pact Publishing. So I'm going to record a tutorial, which will be like introduction to the concept of components and how you define state and make state changes, over to refactoring a small React application, and then actually implementing a more complex application using Cerebral, which is super nice because I get paid for it. I can spend time at work recording it, and that gives us a kind of like a separate way for people to come into Cerebral. It's not necessarily through Twitter or the website. It might be just because people are checking out the latest tutorials, which is cool. I have to ask them about if people have to pay to look at them, or if there are some coupons or something. But if that's the case, then I'll make sure that I create some videos for the website as well, because you shouldn't necessarily pay to learn Cerebral. But it's a good way of getting a really good tutorial out there. So looking forward to that. Sweet. Let's see. Do we have more people? Hey, Gaspard is there. Awesome. Hi. Let's see. I can show you the debugger first. I thought I would try. I haven't tried this, so bear with me here. Oops. We'll try to run our project. Check out test. Let's see. Run client. And then I just need to fire up the debugger here. Yeah, so made some other small changes to this standalone debugger, some more information. You can choose what port it runs on. And the reason I just have some alternatives is that I wasn't sure how to actually create an input natively. So you can type your own port. So, but I think this is good enough, at least as a first step. Cool. And then I just have to jump into the code. Ducky web. Let's see. Not the calculator, but the client main. And let's see here. DevTools. Here we are. And I should only have to say remote debugger and then localhost 787. So let's see what happens. Is it working? Oh. No, wait, this isn't the latest. What? Oh, sorry. It's dash. Git checkout test. Here we are. Sorry about that. Let's see.
You know, there's a stat that says the better you're loading stuffy, the longer the people wait.
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah, that's very true. And we have this, we actually talked a lot about it related to the Ducky application, because you're logging these activities, and it doesn't take much time to log an activity, but like now it's just, it's disabled while it logs, and then it's kind of like enabled again. But we talked about having like this small animation that it feels like you're triggering the animation and not actually logging, which is kind of cool. This didn't work, did it? Oh wait, I have to add the DevTools. There we are. Remote debugger, localhost 87. See now, it works. Should work. Ow! Yes, awesome. Okay, so now I'm running our project, and as you can see, I jumped to the Cerebral debugger, and we have the same thing here, though it's full screen, which is really nice. But there's no new functionality here. It's just that it's using WebSockets instead. So if I, for example, I think we have this, didn't we have show register model? If I write true here, maybe, no. Onboarding model, yeah. So it's the same functionality. You can update, change the model. You see all the signals and all this good stuff. And also the components are updated. Yeah. So what has also been implemented is the support for multiple apps. So whenever, and this is actually really difficult to do because it's very hard for the debugger to understand what are the different apps. So the way it works is that by default, it has activated support for multiple apps. And whenever you trigger signals, and all the information that is passed to the debugger is actually stored in the client itself. So the way it works is whenever you focus a tab, so if I go here and then I go back to this tab, it will rerun all the messages it's sent to the debugger and kind of like resets the debugger. But it's super fast and it doesn't take up that much memory. So, but that's technically how it works. You would think it would be easy to identify the different apps, but it's actually like when you refresh, there's no more information. If you use local storage, it's related to localhost and the port, which might be a completely different app later. And yeah, but this works. So you don't really have to think about it. But yeah, that's really cool. Really happy that we have this debugger now. So that's
so Christian, let me just get the understand. So that means the all data for the debugger actually lives in the client.
Yes, by default it does now.
Okay, so that means okay. So
yeah. But it's only the changes. So that's before, like earlier in the previous debugger, you kind of passed a lot of information, but less, but not as often. kinda. But now you just send these small updates to the debugger. But you can turn all this off. Like there's a bunch of, maybe I should mention these as well. Let's see. On the Cerebral. Yeah, just need to share my screen again. Share API. Oh, it's not there yet. Like in DevTools here, there are a bunch of options. So it uses quite a bit of memory and processing to kind of like do different things. For example, time travel requires it to store all the mutations done. If you don't use time travel, you can turn it off. Prevent external mutations, actually freezes all the data that is passed into the state tree. If you don't worry about that, like if you feel that it doesn't matter, like you always do your state changes through the state API, then you could turn that off. And the same with enforce serializable, if you feel you're in control of that. Also strict render. Yeah, so it's possible to turn off a lot of stuff, and then it's basically just passing messages to the debugger. So in the situations you might want to look into this is when you have big data in the app. Also, a new thing here is the big components warning, which I think is kind of cool. And basically, it just allows you to set number of state dependencies and number of signals a component can register to. And if you exceed the amount set here, you will get a warning, and the idea is that it will help you kind of like write cleaner components or smaller components. Because you typically start with a component and then you just want to add something, and then suddenly your component is like 300 lines of code. So it's just kind of fun that we can do this stuff. Yes. Cool. Yeah, are you here? Nervous? Nervous? Well, nervous sex? Nervous sex?
Watch out what you're saying.
Adam? Yeah, it's Adam.
Halfway there.
Oh, is he frozen? He looks frozen. Oh. Are you there, Adam?
Can I just ask a question about the debugger?
Cool.
Why didn't you just create a random UID for each app?
Because it will change every time you refresh.
But then if you store the data on the client, if you refresh it, it's also
yeah,
reset,
you can.
No?
You could in the DevTools, you could like write a custom ID. That would work.
Christian, we could send an unload that we should expire this ID, and so it will be hidden in current debugger session.
Yeah, and that's also like I did implement support for multiple apps in the previous debugger, but then it's the debugger's responsibility to keep the state of the client. And it's kind of like this state management thing where I feel this approach, when the client just keeps whatever it sends and then just iterates over them, it's like having virtual DOM. You just restart the debugger. Instead of the debugger keeping state of these different apps, they have to time out because the app might be closed and all this stuff. It's much more complicated. And but of course, if there's a memory issue with this approach, I doubt it very much. But it's like the code is this tiny piece of code that actually makes this work now. But if we move the responsibility into the debugger itself, then that needs to do memory management and stuff, and that's and also just fire up or keeping kind of like multiple states of the debugger inside the debugger, instead of just being super dumb and just handling the messages it gets, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Seems, yeah, I understand.
Because it seems like such a simple thing, and I went into it like thinking exactly like, okay, I'll just give them some IDs, and we can fire up multiple controllers, one controller for each app inside the debugger. But it became super messy and memory leaks, and so the devil is in the details.
So it reloads when you focus a page. That's what you said.
Yeah, it kind of like it resends the messages it has already passed to the debugger. So, but it happens so fast you don't even notice it.
But the event,
yeah,
it's on page what focus, or what event is triggering this?
Yeah, there's a page visibility API in browsers. So
Okay.
yeah, so the dev tools inside Cerebral just listens to a visibility change on the tab.
Mm-hmm.
So this only triggers when you change tabs. It doesn't trigger when you kind of like alt tab to a different window or something. It's only related to inside the browser.
So if you have multiple, I had some issues with the debugger before, where I had multiple tabs open, and then things were messing around. So that means if I have two windows, that could happen. That I'm not sure which app I'm looking at. Okay, but that's just for the remote debugger, right? Or it's also for the dev tools.
It's also it's also inside Chrome extension.
So if you have two versions of an app, let's say you're messy, you've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You have two windows, one you forgot about, and it has some other project, Cerebral project loaded, then can get confused.
Yeah, like if you, for some reason, you have two windows and also the debugger open. Like if it's, well, even if it's the Chrome extension and you detach the Chrome DevTools, let's imagine that's the same, like the Electron app and detaching the DevTools. If you do that and also have two separate windows in Chrome, and you don't know which one you've actually clicked, like which one you have focused. Oh yeah, I haven't tested that because I don't know if the same API triggers when you kind of like when you unfocus. If that's what you mean, I think
Yes.
it does. It's called visibility change.
Yeah, it would be nice to know if just focusing a window also resets the state, because then it's really okay. We have no issues.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let me note this down.
I see we have one instance of debugger in DevTools, but React has for each tab own instances, and there is no such issue there.
Okay. So the DevTools for Cerebral is
I think we somehow React detects that it presents on current page, and it even doesn't add tab with React DevTools if current page doesn't contain React. I think we can do something similar too.
Oh yeah.
Not sure I understood.
Yeah, like if you change tab and there's no Cerebral app in that tab. But I think
when you even detach window or with DevTools, it always connected to some concrete tab.
Yay.
And it does, because you have elements tab there, and if you can have a lot of detached tools for each tab.
Yeah.
One per each tab.
Yeah.
And it has different elements. It has different React DevTools, but I think we have issues with debugger without debugger here.
Yeah, because the DevTools has this tab ID that can be used.
At least it should be explored better.
Yeah, I'm just afraid we're putting lots of effort into. Well, we should just try it now, and I'll check the focus thingy, and of course we have to fix it if it becomes an issue. But this is like, it's very typical. Like you get 99% of the way with 99, like with 20% of the work, and then this last 1% requires you to put 80% extra effort just to fix that small issue.
For me, the issue is just to really know what's happening, so that if something weird happens, I have to close some tabs, or things like this. So maybe having a display in the debugger saying so many apps currently connected, or maybe that's too much already. I don't know, but just like that would help.
Yeah, it could do that. I think the biggest issue is knowing when an app is no longer available. You could do on close.
You don't have this through WebSocket that it's closed?
Yeah, of course with WebSockets. I haven't thought of WebSockets.
Because then you could just display the list of connected WebSockets, and so that's just, there's this, and that, and that could be enough. Just like, oh, there's 3 connected. Why? I have a tab somewhere.
Yeah, let me note that as well. Yeah, of course with WebSockets it's a lot easier, and in the Chrome extension we can. I suppose there's some indication when the tab closes down.
Yeah, Alexei was saying unload, but yeah.
Yeah, or unload.
Anyway, just I don't think we need to have another way of managing state. Maybe just having a warning saying, or just some kind of thing saying, oh, you have 3 things.
Chrome extension must use always the same app for which tab it opened, because there is exact connection of debugger. The DevTools connected to exact one tab. It shouldn't be changed if you switch tabs.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works though, because now it does change. So it is the same app running. So
But is it a different instance of the same app? No, it's really the same.
It's the same instance.
So
it's I think but this is like, especially Chrome extensions, it's very hard to do because there's lacking documentation. I have no idea how. I've seen looked at how the React extension has been implemented, and I have no idea where they get their information from. Like, how did they figure out to implement it that way? I don't understand.
At least it's not a high priority, I think, for now.
Yeah, that's true. So I suggest I've noted these things, like these simple things now, like WebSocket close and focusing multiple windows thing. So I can check those, and then I'll just encourage you to try it out. And then if we get into the issue, we have to fix it. And in the meantime, if we come up with a good idea to handle it, we can just implement it. So hopefully it won't be too much work. Cool.
What's next on the list?
Yeah, Adam is popping in and popping out there. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Hello, Adam.
How you doing?
We're doing good. Just talking about the Electron debugger.
Right. How are you finding it? How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's working out really good. It's awesome, and especially that it's using WebSockets, so we can use it for everything. So
it'd be great for debugging iPads.
Yeah, exactly. I just mentioned to the others that, like, since Cerebral is based on function tree, it's very easy to make the debugger work with a pure function tree implementation, which we do this on server side, and I know Matthias and them do the same as well. I talked to Chris here. And they are also using function tree on the server. So it's really cool that you can do that as well.
Yeah.
So, but did you want to show something related to the code mods thing here?
There's not a huge amount left. I mean, to show right now. I've mostly just started. It's I guess I'm just trying to bring together what we need. I don't know much about Cerebral 2 yet. I guess is the biggest problem. So I created the repo. I've done a lot of the work in progresses from 1 to 2. I've looked at the website. I'm trying to do that, but I reckon what I really need is your guys' help trying to set up what they should look like.
Yeah.
And then I can fill in the code mods, which is probably the harder part.
Yeah. Do you want those notes on the? I saw there was there a pull request, work in progress pull request?
Yeah, I started the work in progress pull request, so hopefully it's easy for anyone to just add code to the tests, and it's easy just to put the 2 files in, the input and the output, and I can take that and create a mod and just make it work.
Cool. Yeah, I will definitely look through it as well. Because that's really awesome. Like we had a brief moment. I talked about how we refactored our project, and it took about but we refactored everything. There's some parts that, especially the exposing of signals to components, you don't have to do that. You can still use this signals prop thingy. But we did that as well, and we spent like a full day refactoring. So it would be cool to get that time down. And we were like a few people as well.
It's definitely worth my time putting into the code mods, because when we refactor, it's usually my problem. So I've got a lot of need to do it. So it's also good to help others.
And it seems like a fun project, kind of. It's code, and it's kind of like Sudoku kind of thing, where you kind of have to figure out how to solve it, and every code mod is a new problem in the same problem space.
Yeah,
so hopefully it's educational as well, not just boring work.
I think so. It also gets me across Cerebral too, a little bit at a time, because my day job is basically spent trying to keep 1.x going at this point. So
yeah.
Still, I'd like more direction. So the disconnect on, I guess, the time zones makes things a little bit difficult.
Yeah. But I think at least now we are a few people here, which is great. So what I think we'll do is just have every other hangout on 2 different times. So everybody gets a chance to join. Because this time definitely works. So so we can do the normal one the next time, and then we'll have a 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. You're like 12 hours in front or behind or whatever.
Yeah, it's 8:30 p.m. right now.
Yeah.
I managed to thankfully get on a bit earlier, so it was supposed to be an hour from now.
Okay. Great.
But yeah.
Cool. I think I have one more thing on the slide, and that's the forums. I haven't really started this project before, so hopefully it works. Just let me check quickly here. Check out master. And by the way, working on this mono repo thing, like whenever I make a code change, I usually have to make a documentation change, and maybe I have to change a demo, and it's super nice to do all that in one pull request. So that's working out really well. Let's see, packages, forms demo. Okay, let me share my screen and we'll see if we see something here. Oops. Oh man, it looks so nice. So it's it's you, Matthias, and Henry working on this?
For now, it's me, but it would be
it's
great to. So unfortunately, I got stuck up with like Docker containers. So it's just this simple one, but I want to extend it to complex forms, like depends on and everything, because I don't think we have showed off like an option being a select box and an option reloading other selects and that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
But it's coming, hopefully.
Yeah, and it looks really cool, and it's really nice to kind of like show, also here visualize things, because it's just state. And if you use the, I don't know if the debugger is, oh yeah, it's here. So one thing is looking into the debugger, but you also have this cool thingy here where you see the invalid fields.
It looks really nice. That's cool.
Yeah, so to play around with, yeah, it's super cool. So really looking forward to the rest of the.
Maybe we could move the disable submit when form is invalid to gain a bit vertical space, so that you can load the debugger like you did, Christian.
Yeah.
Or something like that, because it's really nice to see how it works behind the scene, these kind of examples.
Yeah, and maybe even, well, that is taking it a bit far, but I just got this idea. Maybe it should actually show the, or maybe that's too much. It could actually show the state, like the complete state.
I had that before.
Oh, you
showed
did?
the complete state, but I wanted to use the to JSON just to show how. But yeah, we could do that. It's but then it's like a very big scroll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think that many people, they, showing the error messages and everything, they want to show just on change or just on submit validation, and I think we need to bring that in, because now it's validating everything, and it's fine. It should, but maybe we should show people how to just show messages when you submit or when you blur and everything. So because now I think it's like people have questions on forms.
Yeah, and there are these details you're talking about there that we get most questions about, like forms now is where the scope of forms is about like validation, like you have a way to define a form with fields and validate it. But then you have, like you say, all these different scenarios with when should I show error messages, when should it actually validate, and all this stuff. There's just so many scenarios that it's good to demo them to see how it works, but then try to keep the scope of forms down. Yeah.
I'm just looking at the UI. That's very nice. Maybe the form is invalid. This part usually has more vertical stuff than horizontal. So if this is a column on the right, then we have no problem with debugger, and you can also put a lot more of JSON stuff there. No, it's just an idea.
That could be an idea, and then have that scrollable as well. Because what would be kind of cool, I suppose it would be difficult, but what would be kind of cool is to actually identify those sections of JSON that has invalid state. But yeah, that's
so that is what the form is doing right now. So if you type in first name, then it will disappear.
Yeah.
But we should show more data. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
I have another crazy idea. We can allow to integrate debugger into the app, passing in the controller instance.
Yeah, You mean like the UI of the debugger?
Yes, just render it on the page.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that as well.
That's always a tough one, that though, because you can start covering up your app.
Yeah, like because the Redux dev tools did that. I hated it, but like for demoing and stuff, it's really nice not to, especially for people who don't know Cerebral that well. Instead of like installing either a separate app or a Chrome extension, you can just see the debugger actually running.
Yes, and it also could be configured to display only some needed parts. For example, just state panel or just signals panel.
Yeah, but it's actually yeah.
I'm not a big fan. I mean, I think I like the way this interface is really sleek. It kind of shows, hey guys, you can create great user experience, and that should be the focus of this demo. And then if you really code, then you install the debugger and you start to look how it works. Don't you think so?
Yeah, at least for forms. This, as you said, this looks really slick. But I'll definitely look at creating a demo of the debugger without installing anything. I think that's valuable. So it's easier for people to test it without installing stuff, because some people are very hesitant of investing. Do I have to invest a Chrome extension to try this out? It's too big of an investment, kind of thing.
I think we could do that with the demo. I mean, like that's not an issue for this thing. Could be.
Maybe to the MVC have more space for debugger. It's only form in the center, and it's good. We could bring debugger there.
Yeah, I see your point about discovering how it works. Yeah, that's a good point.
Cool, but I suggest that just continue with the approach that's there now, and then I can take a look into how we could at least run the debugger inside the app. And then when that's in place, we can see how it works, and then we can move it over to the forms demo if it makes sense.
So it seems we will just publish it to NPM and use with React render and passing in a controller. And then I think both Electron app and Chrome extension could use this as dependency.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, that's a really good point. As in debugger. Yes. Because then it works the same way for all of them. That's important. Because that's the way it works now as well. Like that was one of my concerns is with the Electron debugger, if we had to make like special changes, but it's actually the exact same code running. The only difference is the connector. One of them uses WebSockets and the other one uses events. So that's really cool. So we should make this also completely generic. Awesome. But I don't know, like things keep popping up all the time, small things to fix, some bugs. But the project is at a really good state now. Like we have a pretty big application and it's running just fine on Cerebral 2. As I said, like Cerebral 1 is more alpha than Cerebral 2 alpha, kind of. Because when we did our refactor, we actually found a couple of places, surprising things that shouldn't work, but actually did work, which made more sense with Cerebral 2. Like it was more, okay, it's doing what it's supposed to do. That was related to strict rendering. But yeah, my impression is that the project is really stable now, but there's still a lot of stuff to do. So I guess we'll just keep iterating, and it's super awesome with these demos because people want demos, and especially the Firebase. Yeah, that was one of the demos as well. The Firebase, is it called Firebase demo or just demo? Just demo.
Just demo. Yeah, and it's published.
Is it published?
Of course.
Where?
/demo on the website.
Okay. Cool. Let me share my screen again. Oops. Okay, maybe I should go to that URL then. Is it on GitHub, like demo? Oops. Demo. Sweet. Okay, so I guess I have to create a user. Does it run with the debugger? It does. This is so cool.
So see your password.
Yeah. Over is. So does it work? Is there something weird here?
Maybe check the console, see an error.
Oh. Can't read properly name of undefined.
Some bug here.
Some bug. But maybe it actually created it. Let's try.
I can show the demo on.
Oh, it works.
Oh, okay. But I know that there were some bugs, so maybe I can show my current version.
Yeah, awesome, awesome.
So I have to. Where do you share screen?
It's the green screen with an arrow.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
On the left, yeah.
So like now, if I do share.
Yep.
And then you see the demo on the right?
Yep.
Yeah, so for guys, so basically you type here what you're doing, Hangout, and it starts counting, and this is a nice time has passed signal. and so then you can also select which project it's related to, and when you do stop, well, it's saved. And then we have clients, so you can search for a client. So let's say, hey, Ducky, well, not there, so add. And so you have a new client. And same with projects, so it could be forms. And you have, so this should be forms, but Henry will do that for the demo, because I don't know anything about forms now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's all looking very nice. Like some things are kind of cool. If you say like you create a new project and then you want to select the client and you say, hey, I don't have the client, then you just go to client and say something. And then if you get back, it's like pretty amazing that it's already there.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a bit the magic of, and I didn't do anything for that. I mean, it's just the magic of how Cerebral and React work together.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you can, select what you have. And so all this works, but the part that was really exciting for me is that we have these clients and projects, and they're basically very similar things. Like they have a name, some fields, you have a card, you can create it, remove it, and they get saved into the Firebase thing here, like that. So that's the user ID. Then you have clients, projects, tasks. And then inside there, well, if you look at it, it's very similar. Like you have a key. This one has client key, but you have dates created, updated. And so Julio made this work to integrate with Cerebral. And I'm now working on refactoring to like abstract these collection stuff. And that's this part I wrote here. Like, this is the code. Is it really too small for you? Probably.
It works.
It works.
Yeah.
So that's a factory where you just put the module name and it creates the signal to create an object, to remove an object, to respond to removed from Firebase. And the way it works is that there's one thing called path that is used here for fixed path. And it's also used here to set input values for paths that change depending on the key. For example, the remote item or the local item. Mm-hmm. So, for example, well, remote collection, that could be fixed too. I know there's the user ID. So this thing changes depending on user ID. But then you have item path and remote path. And by having just this in one single place, so the conventions on how you write things for your conventions are just here, then it can be used everywhere, like update draft. Well, that's a simple one. Update. So you have you set remote, that's Firebase.
Okay, so set paths kind of like returns to the input kind of
thing?
Exactly.
So it writes into the input. It's like setting some context.
Yeah.
So here, for example, you set the context, and then here it's using the context to work on it, actually.
Yeah.
And this pattern is it's really powerful. So now when you create a new collection, it looks like this. So you have collection, and you name the collection. You give some initial state for the collection. Maybe you need some default items in it. I don't know. We do. And then the whole signals are like that. It's just you're using the collection signals, or you could rewrite them. So it's pretty cool, because if we said, okay, now we want to add, I don't know, like tags, to say we want to tag projects, then it would be just a copy paste of that. Like, C project has just one specific signal now.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, because I've been doing work on collections forever, and I hate rewriting code, because then you change some kind of convention you're using, and you have to fix every collection and everything. So
and what's also really cool there is like on the add clicked signal. Okay, sorry guys, I have to show you. Just 2 seconds. Hello. Hello. Say hello to the guys. Sorry, I'm that cliched, ridiculous dad who always shows off his baby. Sorry. What I wanted to say is, in your code, Gaspar, what's really powerful there as well is like you have add clicked, discard clicked, enter pressed, and that stuff. And sometimes, okay, you want to work on the collection, but you also want to do other things. So if you on add clicked, you had an array instead, and then you spread the collection.create, and then you could just add actions before and after it, and even in parallel with the if that made sense.
Yes, so that's exactly what I'm doing right now with the tasks, because they're special. Like, you start a task, and it's a bit between a draft and something you really want to store, because if you close your tab while you're still running what you're doing, so it has to stay live. And I'm trying to so now you can just call. Maybe I can show that. Let me. The demo will not work, but let's apply. So
remember to share your screen again.
So yeah, so share screen. Right. So it's here. So it's in task, like start running. So this one is a bit different. Maybe stop running. Yeah. So basically, I'm doing some stuff here that is specific to the task, and then I'm just calling the factory with the name of the module. So that's exactly the same factory as the ones that they're all using here.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically it's just, I can import part of the collection, how it works inside other signals. I could also create a collection here and write the collection create here. It would be the same.
Oh yeah.
It's just, yeah. So I'm trying to find a good way to not make the collection complicated, and so that things can be customized and wrapped with other stuff. Yeah. So that's a bit an experiment right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and also finding these. There are these levels of abstraction. Like sometimes you go to an abstraction that's way too specific for the project, and then you have like the cerebral abstraction, and then you have like this kind of abstraction, which is it's very generic, but it's not kind of like core, and then you have your very specific app abstractions.
Yeah, the idea with this collection thingy is that it's more of a copy-paste thing you do in your project, because you have, your own ways of doing stuff, and it's very easy to just, change things around, or maybe you just change path. So it's, I know I've got a use for this in my my website, where I'll have collections and stuff, and I didn't want to rewrite code, so that's a bit an incentive to abstract things. Yeah. But I found that using operators and input as context is a good way to handle this abstraction level correctly.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was very inspiring to me. I haven't thought about inputs that way, that you can use them to kind of like prepare some logic. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and thanks, Julio. He's not here, but I really helped that he worked so hard on Firebase for this demo.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Awesome. That's nice. We had like 3 demos this time around. That's great. I have to get my ass to the office. I don't know if anyone has like any questions or something they want to mention, or.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning I'm working on content editable for Cerebral. And so it's a rich text editor that works nicely with Firebase and Cerebral. I mean, there's no array. And writing text without an array is pretty challenging. And, selecting stuff across paragraphs with markup and, handling events with that is, it's interesting.
Challenge. Yeah.
But it's moving forward nicely, and it should be a tool that is very easy to integrate with Cerebral. Like if you want to add editor buttons or options, they're easy, and yeah, so it's going to be a small library, but I have to write tons of tests because it's crazy how an editor is complex.
Yeah.
It looks super simple, but then there's so many issues.
Yeah. So maybe you can demo it next Hangout?
Yeah, not now. It's just too strange.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Should we say that's okay?
Yes. Thanks, everyone. I'm going
Sweet.
to a meeting right now, another meeting. So great work.
Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, thanks, Matthias. Eager to see the next forms stuff.
Yeah. Good.
Bye-bye.
See you on Discord.
Bye. Bye.
I have more to say later.
Bye, Adam.
See ya.
Was nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too.